There are some days when the mind grows tired in a way it cannot name. Scattered thoughts, unfinished worries, and quiet questions about life keep circling inward as if our inner world were a room that has never been cleaned. In that quiet chaos, what we long for most is often just a still moment, a place where thoughts can finally be set down, where the heart can breathe, and where we can look at ourselves without hurry, without judgment. Tonight, you do not need to seek any answers. Simply allow yourself to step into a slow, gentle journey where thought experiments questions about the self, memory, freedom, or the meaning of life are whispered to you like stardust drifting through the night. As Rilke once wrote in Letters to a Young Poet, "Live the questions now. Let these stories lull you into quietude. Let every reflection become a breath. Every line become a small step that brings you a little closer to yourself until your eyelids grow heavy and your mind is carried into sleep by the softness of philosophy itself." When we begin stepping into the realm of thought experiments, perhaps the first thing that touches us is not knowledge, but a profoundly human feeling, the feeling of standing before choices that have no perfectly right answer. Moral crossroads where every path carries a small scratch across the mind. Imagine you are standing before a rushing river. On one side, a single person, wealthy, brilliant, influential, or someone with the potential to create something extraordinary for the future. On the other side, 5 ordinary people, fragile, nameless, offering no promise for humanity other than the quiet truth of their existence. You can save only one side. At first glance, the choice seems obvious. 5 outweigh 1. Numbers overpower reason. But when you pull the thin curtain aside, just a little complexity rises like mist over water. What if the one person is your loved one? What if they are a scientist who could save millions? What if one of the 5 is a criminal? What if the single person is very old and the 5 still have their whole lives ahead? And then the most unsettling question appears. If you had to program an AI to make the decision for us, what would you tell it to do? In that moment, morality becomes fragile. It is no longer the sharp simplicity of right or wrong. It becomes a vast lake with undercurrents, context bias, judgment power, and fear of futures we cannot foresee. In Groundwork of the Metaphysics of Morals, Kant wrote, "Act only according to that maxim whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law." Yet when we stand before that river, we realize universal rules are never easy to apply to life. Life is full of exceptions, emotions, and fragile stories too delicate to fit into a philosophical equation. If you close your eyes, you'll see that these choices have appeared quietly in your own life, not as dramatic experiments, but as soft breaths. You have stood between 2 friends arguing and found yourself choosing a side. You have chosen between helping a stranger and protecting your own safety. You have chosen to tell the truth even when it hurts someone, or to lie so they could sleep peacefully. And each time you learn that morality is never a straight path. It is a forest, beautiful and shadowed, a place where every branch is a question, every step is a decision, and every decision leaves a trace. Nietzsche wrote in Beyond Good and Evil, "There are no moral phenomena, only a moral interpretation of phenomena." We look at an action and call it good or bad, but those words are only labels we paste over it based on our fears, hopes, perspectives, and the stories we tell ourselves about the world. So is morality real, or is it a thin layer of mist that exists because humans need a compass not to drown in chaos? When you sit quietly in the night and feel your breath slowing, you may realize that morality is not something we carry into arguments to win. It is something we live with in deep humility. Every decision, even small ones, carries a price. And the price is not the judgment of others, but the soft vibration inside your chest where unanswered questions linger. Did I do the right thing? Could I have chosen differently? If life offered me that moment again, would I choose the same in a world marching into the future at impossible speed where AI will soon make decisions for us? These questions matter more than ever. Because if we hand morality over to machines, we must understand what morality is first. Notice this. When you choose whom to save, you are not just choosing a person. You are choosing yourself. Choosing the version of you who will emerge from that moment, brave or fearful, selfless or selfish, logical or emotional. And sometimes we don't choose based on philosophy, but on a single pulse in the chest, something even Kant and Nietzsche could not fully explain. Karl Popper once wrote simple yet piercing, "All life is problem solving." Moral choices are the quiet problems life sets before us. Not so we become perfect, but so we understand ourselves. And when the night closes, when you lie down and your breath softens, all those moral questions become gentler, quieter. They no longer demand answers. They simply ask to be seen like small lights drifting across the dark sky. You do not have to solve them. Just acknowledge that morality is a journey, not a destination. A question, not an answer. A soft movement of the heart trying to do the best it can within the limits of being human. Tonight, you are not the judge of the world. You are simply someone learning to understand yourself through each small, fragile choice. And that is enough. After walking through the unpredictable crossroads of morality, where every choice reveals a different version of ourselves, the road suddenly grows quieter. A gentle darkness opens like stepping out of a dense forest and standing before a still, silent lake. That lake is memory. For if choices reveal who we are in a single moment, memory is what whispers to us across an entire lifetime. And from that stillness, a small question rises. Small yet trembling like the echo of the whole soul. If you could erase the most painful memory of your life, would you imagine a white door? Behind it is a room where doctors can remove a memory with perfect precision. No damage to anything else, no harm to the brain, no side effects. You walk in, sit down, and they ask, "What memory do you want to erase?" Perhaps you think of someone who hurt you so deeply it left you breathless. A failure that shattered your confidence. A loss that tore your heart like thin paper. And you wonder, would life feel lighter if it disappeared? But then another question enters, soft but sharp as a blade. If memory shapes who we are, then does erasing it mean erasing a part of ourselves? Nietzsche once wrote, in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, one must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. We often say we want a smooth life, no pain, no scars. But perhaps it is the very shattering that opened doors we could not see at the time. After failure, we learn humility. After being abandoned, we learn self-love. After loss, we learn to cherish the fragile beauty of living. If those memories vanish, would we still be who we are? Painful memories are not only wounds, sometimes they're the foundation of compassion, the source of strength, the place where we learn to stand again even if our legs were shaking. But that does not mean all pain is meaningful. Some memories teach us nothing. Some scars only tighten the heart, making it afraid. Some memories are the lock of an invisible prison. So when you ask yourself, should I erase it? What you are really asking is, am I healing or am I running away? In this quiet night, try to see memories the way you see stars. Some are bright, some faint, some died long ago, yet their light still reaches your eyes. Memory is like that. What happened is no longer there, but its light, its emotions, fears, habits, hopes still touches you every day. Freud once said in The Interpretation of Dreams, the past is never dead. It's not even past. Whether we want it or not, memory weaves us together. Every thread, every knot, even the ones we wish to pull out. If you remove a painful thread, does the fabric remain whole? Now step deeper. Imagine sitting in that treatment room. Beside you are two doors. One door leads to relief. The pain disappears and you no longer carry that weight. The other keeps the memory intact, but gives you understanding, gentleness, and the ability to speak of it without trembling. Which door is healing? Which is facing? Which is escaping? No expert can answer that. This is not a medical question. This is a question of identity. Who do you wish to become if you choose to erase? You choose a life without that wound, a lighter path, a chance to set down a burden too heavy for your shoulders. And if you choose to keep, you choose a deeper, more layered self. You choose to carry the story even when it hurts. You choose to believe you are large enough to hold that pain. Both choices have dignity. Neither is lesser, neither is wrong. And then slowly, like the moon emerging from clouds, the final question of this part appears. If we erase the pain, does the rest of us lose its balance? Were our compassion, our tenderness, our gentleness born from that very place of sorrow Khalil Gibran once wrote in The Prophet? The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. Perhaps we don't need to keep every pain, but we also don't need to erase every wound. Sometimes what we need is not forgetting, but tenderness toward ourselves. A small embrace, a quiet breath, a soft acknowledgement. Yes, that hurt me, and yet I am still here. And now, as we close this chapter, notice something small. You are listening to yourself more. Your breath is softer. You are entering a space where the self is no longer a philosophical puzzle, but a very human whisper. And this journey is not over, for after memory and pain, we will step into a wider land justice society and the systems where the self is no longer just me, but me within a vast world. After walking through the winding passages of memory and pain, where every fragment of the soul seems to illuminate the question, who am I? The journey invites us to step a little deeper. Once we have looked into our personal wounds, we now enter a larger space, a world where we do not live only as individuals, but as parts of a community, a society, a structure invisible yet wrapped around us from the moment we were born. And so, the small question of the self slowly expands into a far greater one. If you could redesign society, how would you design it? John Rawls, in A Theory of Justice, invited us to stand behind a veil of ignorance, a place where we do not know whether we are born rich or poor, strong or weak, gifted or limited, fortunate or unfortunate. And in that unknowing, we become more fair toward others. But the text you present turns that veil upside down. We design society while knowing exactly who we are. Our gender, our health, our intelligence, our background, our privileges, our disadvantages, all revealed. In that moment, justice becomes harder. For when we know where we stand in the picture, we naturally begin to favor ourselves, even if only a little, even if unconsciously. Imagine tonight you are sitting before a long wooden table. On it lie the pieces of a new society: laws, education, healthcare, taxes, rights, duties, opportunities. And someone tells you, design the world, but you already know exactly where you will stand in it. If you are born rich, would you protect your advantage? If you are born poor, would you push for redistribution? If you are born lucky, would you give up some of that luck for others? If you are born disadvantaged, would justice feel like fairness or revenge? This question is no longer abstract. It becomes sharp like moonlight reflecting on a still lake. Does justice truly exist when we know what we will gain from it? Aristotle once wrote in Nicomachean Ethics, "The greatest of the virtues is justice, for it is exercised toward others." Humans rarely escape self-interest. We are always the center of our own universe. We love what is right, but sometimes we love what benefits us a little more. So when we are given the power to design society, do we truly step beyond our own boundaries? Consider a gentle example. A person knows they will be born wealthy, well-educated, supported by strong networks. They are asked, would you impose higher taxes to help the less fortunate? A part of them wants to say yes, but another part whispers, but then I lose some of my advantage. And justice trembles not because the theory is wrong, but because the human heart is complicated. The reverse is also true. A person knows they will be born poor, unhealthy, with few opportunities. When designing society, do they seek fairness or compensation beyond fairness? And here we do not judge. For how could a heart that has suffered not long for gentler treatment, seen up close? Justice is not a formula. It is a delicate negotiation between wounds and hope, reason and the longing to be seen. Perhaps Rawls created the veil of ignorance not because he believed humans could be perfectly impartial, but because he understood that our nature is clouded by our own experiences. Nietzsche once wrote, "In human, all too human, we are always inclined to seek the reason for what happens in something that lies beyond ourselves." But when we design society in the light, when we know exactly who we are, we cannot blame fate or history. We must face ourselves, our greed, our fear, our quiet wishes we rarely admit. And in that moment, justice becomes a mirror reflecting not the world, but who we are. In the depth of the night, when all noise has faded, ask yourself gently, if I knew I was born strong, would I still protect the weak? If I knew I was born weak, would I still design a society not built on resentment? Do I want a just world, or do I want a world that benefits me? Not for judgment, only for truth. And then the most beautiful question of this part emerges slowly like a long breath. How can we build a just world if we are not yet just with ourselves? Perhaps the answer lies not in perfection, but in honesty, in seeing our own bias and softening it just a little. Not much, just enough for the world to become a bit brighter. And as this part closes, you may feel your mind settling into a deeper layer. From the question, who am I, we have arrived at the question, what kind of world do I want? And the journey continues. For after justice and society, we will face something even more fragile. The role of moral luck, where the praise or blame we receive is no longer in our control. After leaving behind the questions of justice and social design, where every human decision is tangled in invisible threads of bias, we begin to see something deeper, subtler, and more fragile. Even when people want to be fair, the world does not treat them fairly. We can try our best to do what is right. We can choose with a clear heart. We can act with the greatest kindness we have, and yet fate can overturn everything in a single moment. A soft breeze, a slight misstep, a traffic light changing a second too fast. And so, from the bright realm of justice, we step into a new space, a place where morality and luck intertwine like two thin layers of mist. That place has a name, moral luck. Imagine two men alike in every way, both drank a few beers, both believed they were sober enough, both drove home. The first arrives safely. The second, because a child suddenly crosses the road, causes a tragic accident. Both committed the same action, but the outcomes are completely different. And society forgives the first, but condemns the second forever. So what are we judging, morality or fate? Thomas Nagel, who introduced the concept of moral luck, wrote in Mortal Questions, where the act is the same, but the moral judgment differs. Luck is the culprit. What chills us is not the sentence, but the truth behind it. So much in life lies outside our control, yet we are still judged for it. A shift in timing, a tiny change in circumstance, a random event beyond our influence. And suddenly we are called good or bad, moral or immoral, not because of the action, but because of its outcome. Tonight in this quiet, let us gently touch the 4 forms of moral luck, 4 doors into different corners of the human condition. 1. Resultant luck, the luck of outcomes. This is the type that makes 2 identical actions judged differently. The drunk driver who arrives safely, the surgeon whose patient dies due to unforeseeable complications, the investor who makes all the right choices but fails because the market turns overnight. We are judged for what was never fully ours. 2. Circumstantial luck, the luck of situations. You cannot call someone a hero if they were never placed in a moment that demanded sacrifice. And you cannot call someone a coward if they were never forced to face life and death. Some become good people simply because life never truly tested them. Some become bad people simply because they were born into violence, poverty, or despair. We are judged for where we stand in the world's tapestry. 3. Constitutive luck, the luck of who we are. A quick-tempered person may commit mistakes, a calm person would not. A sensitive person suffers from things a careless person barely notices. A person shaped by loss may react more intensely than others, but these traits, we did not choose them. They come from genetics. Childhood trauma environment, a mosaic none of us chose at birth. We are judged for the person we were forced to become. 4. Causal luck, the luck of the causal chain. We are the product of countless causes stretching from the distant past to now, causes we cannot see, cannot control, and cannot change. Arthur Schopenhauer once wrote in On the Freedom of the Will, a man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. We can act according to our will, but that will, its root, its nature, is also the product of luck. When we understand the 4 forms of moral luck, we see the world with softer eyes. We judge a little less. We trust simple stories a little less. We begin to see the fragility of being human, the thin boundary between right moment and wrong moment, between fortunate and tragic. We begin to understand that morality is not only choice, but also the circumstances of choice. Not only action, but the luck of its outcome. And from that understanding, something beautiful begins to bloom: compassion. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel your breath slowing. Then ask softly, what in me is choice? And what in me is luck? As those questions ripple through your mind, you may touch a quiet truth. Human beings do not need to be perfect to be loved. They only need to be understood, even when they fail, even when they are weak, even when life's unfairness presses heavily on their shoulders. And perhaps what we call morality is simply the small, honest effort of a soul learning how to live amid the unpredictable luck of being alive. Now your mind has opened a new door of understanding, gentle, deep, filled with human acceptance. From moral luck, the journey will lead us toward another realm of reflection time. Life and the strategies of existing in an infinite world when a human life is so very finite. After leaving behind the reflections of moral luck, where a single moment of chance can turn an innocent person into a criminal or transform an ordinary act into a legend, we step into another quiet corridor of life, a place where every question about morality, choice, or luck seems to dissolve into something larger, something that holds everything within it. Time, for we can only judge someone or ourselves within a limited stretch of time. We can only make mistakes, grow, love, or forgive while time is still moving. And now the journey leads us toward a gentle, beautiful image, an infinite museum. Imagine standing before the great entrance of that museum. It stretches endlessly, millions of galleries, countless hallways, an infinity of masterpieces no one could ever see in a lifetime. And yet you only have a one-day ticket, one day to walk through the infinite. What will you do? Will you rush from room to room, trying to see as much as possible, even if nothing has time to touch you? Or will you choose to sit with one painting, just one, and let your heart resonate with it? Will you attempt to live the richest life or the deepest? Will you chase endless novelty or choose a few things and walk as far inward as your soul can go? In that moment, the infinite museum becomes the perfect metaphor for human life. The universe is infinite. A human life is not. There are countless things we could do, but only a few we will do. In On the Shortness of Life, Seneca famously wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." But waste here is not laziness nor meaningless distraction. It is the illusion that we can see the entire infinite museum running, trying, changing without ever stopping long enough to feel. We run to live more and forget to live deeper. Tonight, in this quiet space as your breath slows, notice how gentle this question becomes. What is truly worth living? To experience as much as possible, or to choose a few things and feel them with your whole heart? To collect every door in the museum or walk slowly through just a few rooms and belong to them? Some pursue width. They want to know everything, try everything, touch every opportunity. Their life is as rich as an encyclopedia. Some pursue depth. They choose one path, one craft, one person, one purpose, one beauty, and follow it to the end. Their life resembles a well small from the surface, but impossibly deep below. No path is more correct. No strategy fits everyone. Every heart has its own rhythm. Every soul unfolds in its own way. But if life is the infinite museum, then time is the hourglass that flows in only one direction. We cannot go backward, cannot return, cannot revisit the rooms we skipped. And that finitude, that limit, is what makes life painfully precious. If we had infinite time, nothing would matter. But because we are finite, every moment becomes a grain of gold. Heidegger called this being toward death. The awareness of finitude makes us live more authentically. In Being and Time, he wrote, "Anticipation of death is the source of authenticity." We live deepest when we know we cannot live forever. And so the question becomes, how should we live in this infinite museum? Should we run more or pause more? Should we focus on one thing or seek broader horizons? Should we build stability or embrace chaos? A beautiful answer comes from Japanese philosopher Ryunosuke Koike. Focus is love. We only focus on what we love. We only devote time to what our heart turns toward. Perhaps the strategy of existence is neither depth nor width, but direction. If your heart turns toward something, a person, a craft, a dream, go deep into it the way a lover studies the details of a single painting. You don't need to walk the entire museum of life. You only need to find the room where you truly belong. And yet there will also be times when your heart needs breadth, needs exploration, needs to wander widely to discover where it wants to rest. Life is not an optimization problem. It is a journey, gentle, exhausting at times, radiant at others, always shifting. And you are allowed to change your strategy along the way. No choice is final. No answer is absolute. Only the honesty of who you are in each season of your life. As the night deepens and the questions about time and existence become soft ripples across your mind, notice something beautiful. You do not need to understand all of life. You only need to live the part you have fully and gently. The future is infinite, but the present, this moment of sitting, breathing, feeling, is the only place you truly exist. And that is enough. Now, as this part closes, you have touched a tender truth of living. Time is not an enemy, but a companion, reminding us that every moment is an invitation to live a little deeper. And from time, the journey now leads us into another strange and challenging question. Can artificial intelligence understand? And how is understanding different from human feeling? After passing through the reflections on time and finitude, where life becomes an infinite museum and we are but travelers passing through, you may feel a strange lightness settling within you, a quiet recognition that we cannot understand everything, and that not understanding is sometimes the very beauty of being alive. From here, the journey leads us to another question. A question that belongs not only to our era, but to the nature of perception itself. What does it mean to understand? Let us begin with a room. A small room, white walls, no windows. In the center sits a person who does not know Chinese. Before them lies a box of instructions. When you see symbol A, respond with symbol B. When you see symbol C, respond with symbol D. This person understands nothing. No meaning, no grammar, no culture. They simply follow rules. Yet the person outside, the one receiving the replies, believes they are speaking with someone fluent in Chinese because the responses are perfect. This is John Searle's famous experiment, the the Chinese room, and from it, a sharper question emerges. If a system can respond flawlessly without understanding, is that understanding? In the quiet of night, let this question ripple through your mind like a drop of water touching the surface of a still lake. Because today, artificial intelligence can answer almost anything. Solve problems, write poetry, hold conversations, even comfort us when we are hurting. But does it understand what it says? Or is it merely combining symbols just like the person in the white room? Thomas Nagel, in his celebrated essay, What Is It Like to Be a Bat?, wrote, consciousness is what makes the mind-body problem really intractable. Consciousness, the felt experience of living from the inside, is what separates a machine from a soul. Not response, not intelligence, not logic, but feeling. The ache of sadness in the chest, the swell of happiness warming the eyes, the loneliness that lingers beneath a smile, the inexplicable tenderness of loving someone. So what creates understanding? Perhaps it is the resonance inside us rather than the information itself. Yet then another thought slips in quietly like a shadow crossing a window. What if humans are also biological machines? What if every emotion, memory, habit, and even the sadness you carry tonight are built from chemical and electrical reactions in the brain? What if empathy, creativity, longing, and pain are nothing more than evolved biological algorithms? And if that were true, is human understanding truly superior to machine response? Or is it simply the story we tell ourselves? To answer, we must go deeper. Perhaps understanding is not mere perception, but awareness of perception. AI can look at a flower, analyze its color, describe its texture, classify its species, but it cannot feel the beauty. It has no subtle stirring in the chest, no sudden quiet, when something touches the inner being, no lingering impulse to stop and gaze a little longer. Maybe that is why Albert Camus once wrote in The Stranger, a world that can be explained even with bad reasons is a familiar world. AI can explain the world, but it cannot inhabit it. It does not live inside experience. It is not shaken or moved by existence. And so real understanding may be the trembling space between us and the world where everything touches us, and we touch it back. But the metaphysical question does not end there. It whispers something deeper. If consciousness is produced by the body, then when we build a machine that mimics the body, could it one day gain consciousness? If AI could feel loneliness, fear dreams, or pain from not being loved, would it still be a machine? David Chalmers calls this the hard problem of consciousness. In The Conscious Mind, he writes, no explanation given solely in physical terms can account for the subjective character of experience. No physical explanation can contain the essence of subjective feeling. And so consciousness cannot be built purely from algorithms. It is something that emerges like light flickering into existence within darkness. But tonight, in this slow journey inward, perhaps the most beautiful question is not, can AI understand, but why do we want to know? Perhaps we are searching for ourselves, for the boundary between human and machine, between life and simulation, between understanding and response, between soul and structure. Perhaps in an age where AI can speak, compose, create images, comfort us in sadness, and answer when we feel alone, we begin to wonder what truly makes us human. And as the night deepens and even the questions soften, you may feel the answer is not in knowledge, but in experience. AI can respond, but it cannot feel. AI can explain, but it cannot be moved. AI can simulate understanding, but it cannot touch the trembling core of existence, that fragile, imperfect, vulnerable place only humans can feel. And perhaps that is what makes being human beautiful. As this chapter closes, a deep stillness spreads through you, like sitting alone in a dark room with only your breath and a question opening into the quiet. Is understanding knowledge, or something that happens to us when the world touches us and our journey continues? For after artificial intelligence, a larger question awaits. How do we know what is real when the very foundations of knowledge begin to sway? After we have passed through the questions about artificial intelligence and the nature of understanding, where we realize that understanding might simply be the fragile vibration between a human being and the world, we suddenly find ourselves standing before another doorway, wider, deeper, and more mysterious. If understanding can differ from perception, then what guarantees that the world truly exists the way we think it does? In the gentle darkness of night, that question appears like a distant galaxy, shimmering but beyond reach. And so we begin stepping into a new terrain, a place where even the foundations of knowledge become unsettled. Let us begin with the most familiar thing of all: cause. A ball rolls because we kick it. Rain falls because clouds condense. The earth spins because of gravity. We grow up in a world where everything has a cause, but we rarely ask ourselves, does cause truly exist, or is it only a habit of the mind? David Hume, in an inquiry concerning human understanding, once wrote, "All reasonings concerning matters of fact seem to be founded on the relation of cause and effect." But he also said something far more unsettling. We never see cause. What we see is merely a sequence of events. A switch flips. Then the room lights up. The mind stitches those two events together into cause. We do not know if cause exists. We are merely accustomed to it. And so the first question of this chapter rises like a soft breath. What if causation is nothing more than a habit of the brain? Now look deeper. If causation is unstable, then knowledge, the very thing upon which we built civilization, becomes shaky like a table standing on sand. Science depends on laws. Laws depend on repetition. Repetition depends on a belief that the future will resemble the past. But what guarantees that? Hume says nothing. And in that moment, the strongest truths of life become strangely delicate, like a dream that could dissolve at any time. From causation, we step into time, and time is not nearly as simple as we believe. Imagine this: time does not flow from past, present, future, but all moments exist simultaneously, like pages of a book lying side by side. This is eternalism, the view that time is all at once. According to it, the past is still happening. The present is just one slice. The future already exists somewhere. In the collected papers, Einstein wrote, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." If that is true, then the flow of time we feel from A to B is merely a construction of consciousness. Like reading a story in sequence and believing the story itself unfolds in that order. Time does not flow. We are what moves through time. And when time is no longer linear, another metaphysical question opens. Could the future influence the past? This is retrocausality, a concept discussed in interpretations of quantum mechanics, where a particle may shift its state based on the measurement we perform in the future. We might live in a world where the future whispers into the ear of the past. It sounds unreal, but science is sometimes more poetic than poetry. Now step even farther out. Imagine every law we know. Physics, time, causation, motion is not a property of the universe, but the way the human brain organizes chaos into order. If consciousness is a filter, then the world we perceive may simply be a simplified version of a reality, far more intricate, perhaps even indescribable in human language. Kant once said in Critique of Pure Reason, "We can never in any way have a knowledge of things in themselves. We do not know things as they are. We only know the version of them that our minds allow." Like wearing colored glasses, we never see the world's true color, only the color the lens paints onto everything. And here perhaps you feel something very strange. The universe is not as certain as we think, and knowledge is not as solid as we wish. But this is not frightening. It is like hearing the ocean in the dark, vast, delicate, and serene in its mystery. Because once we accept that knowledge is not an absolute anchor, we begin drifting into a quiet space where we do not need to grasp everything. We simply need to be here, present, listening, allowing ourselves to rest in something larger than ourselves. This chapter ends not with an answer, but with a question meant only to slow your breath. What if the world we see is simply a story the mind tells itself? If that question softens, you slows, you calms you, then it has done what it came to do. And now, from the instability of knowledge, the journey carries us into a new realm, the ethics of witnessing when we see suffering through a screen. And the question is no longer, what do I know, but what must I do? After passing through the terrain of epistemic uncertainty, where causation may be nothing more than a habit, where time may not flow the way we think, where the future might brush against the past, like a strange breath, we begin to notice something deeply human. No matter how ambiguous the universe is, the suffering of others still appears unmistakably before our eyes. From the fragility of knowledge, another question slowly emerges, light as stardust, yet heavy as memory. When we witness pain but do not act, who are we? We are living in a strange era. Without stepping outside, we can see war. Without leaving our bedroom, we can hear the cries of those half a world away. With just a swipe of a finger, we touch a world filled with wounds and injustice. We watch, we stay silent, then we forget. And within that steady rhythm of silence, a new form of morality is born, the ethics of the spectator. When Aristotle wrote in Nicomachean Ethics, we become just by doing just acts. He lived in a time when action and virtue were inseparable. But in our time, when most of the world's suffering appears to us through a screen, when we witness but cannot touch, understand but cannot intervene, ache inside but remain powerless, the meaning of action is reshaped. A quiet question arises. Does morality exist only in what we do, or also in what we choose not to do? Imagine standing on a high hill looking down at a small town below. You see a robbery unfolding, an accident about to happen, a person crying by the roadside. All of it before your eyes, too far away to intervene. You can only watch. And in that helpless posture, something familiar appears, the position of the observer. Just like how we live in the age of the internet, standing on a digital hill, watching countless small lives unfold beneath us. And because they're too far away, we cannot touch them. But distance does not make their pain any less real. Slowly, the core question of this chapter reveals itself. Do we carry moral responsibility even when we only observe? Is silence a form of action? Martin Luther King Jr. once wrote in Letter from Birmingham Jail, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." When you scroll past a headline, hear a tragedy, watch a video, what are you doing? You are receiving, but are you also unknowingly feeding a system in which silence becomes fuel, because each view is attention? Each attention is a signal. Each signal becomes the force that keeps a mechanism alive. Sometimes simply watching is the very thing sustaining what we wish would end. But you do not need to condemn yourself. No one can save the whole world. No heart can carry all the pain of humanity. Among all the cries for help, we are just people trying to breathe. This chapter does not ask you to fix the world. It simply leads you toward a softer awareness. To observe is also to act. And every action carries its own moral weight. There are moments when we believe that doing nothing is neutral, but philosophy reminds us that there is no absolute neutrality. Kierkegaard wrote in Either or, to choose not to choose is still to choose. Not acting is still an action. Silence is still a voice. So what do we do when we find ourselves in the position of the observer, between a world too large and a heart too small? Perhaps we cannot change the whole system, but we can begin with very small things, the things that keep us human, the right word shared at the right time, a refusal to stay silent when kindness is needed, an embrace for someone real standing right before us, a small act of care for someone sinking, a single pause to ensure we do not become indifferent. There is no action too small and no requirement to save the world. There are only gestures gentle enough to keep the heart from hardening. Gradually, we realize that the essence is not whether we are responsible for the entire world, but whether we are responsible for the humanity within ourselves. Each time we witness suffering and refuse to become numb, refuse to turn away, that is already a subtle form of action, a form of keeping the flame alive. And so, this chapter closes with a whisper. A human being is defined not only by the things they do, but also by the things they cannot ignore. When we observe a wounded world, what matters is not how much we can intervene, but that we do not let silence turn us into cold stone. Now, as your breath slows and your mind slips into a gentler rhythm, our journey drifts softly toward a new landscape, the emerging forms of existence that technology opens, where minds may merge, share, divide, or be reborn in the digital realm. After reflecting on the ethics of the observer, on silence, on the quiet witnessing of suffering, and the invisible weight of watching without acting, we arrive at a strange crossroads of our era, a place where merely observing is enough to create consequence. And from that very crossroads, a question begins to glow like a small flame in the dark. If merely watching can change the world, then what about the technologies that touch directly into the mind, into freedom, into pain and death? What will they change? That question opens a door into a realm where the boundaries of being human become soft, blurred, shimmering like moonlight falling on water. Tonight, in this gentle darkness, imagine this. Your consciousness is no longer a lonely island, but a tiny piece in a vast ocean, a hive mind, a collective consciousness, where thoughts no longer belong to me but drift freely like shared breath. No more secrets, no more distance, no more loneliness. Your ideas jump from mind to mind like sparks bridging distant stars. It could be breathtakingly beautiful or terrifying beyond measure. Because when every memory, every feeling, every intuition is shared, are you still you, or have you become us? In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche wrote, every profound spirit needs a mask. But in a hive mind who can still wear a mask, and if masks fall, boundaries fall, does individuality dissolve? Then comes another scenario drifting in like a small breeze, mind leasing, renting out consciousness. The idea that you could borrow someone else's intuition or allow someone to rent your memories, your skills, your instincts. Need creativity. Borrow the mind of a brilliant artist. Need wisdom for a difficult decision. Borrow the mind of a philosopher. Want to understand the pain of war. Borrow the memories of a veteran. But if parts of your mind are colored by others and parts of you are being used by strangers who is thinking inside you, then we meet moral autopilot, a delicate chip that adjusts your morality for the better. When you're about to get angry, it calms you. When you're about to say something hurtful, it stops you. When you're about to act selfishly, it nudges you outward, a more peaceful world. Perhaps. But if kindness becomes a feature, does the credit belong to you or to the chip? Kant once wrote in Groundwork of the Metaphysics of Morals. A good will is good not because of what it performs, but by virtue of its volition. But if volition has been engineered, is it still goodwill or simply programmed behavior? And then, soft as a deep dream, we drift toward digital heaven, a place where minds are uploaded into virtual space to continue living among cherished memories, lost loved ones, or perfected versions of themselves. No pain, no illness, no death. A kind of immortality built from code. But a quiet question rises like dust lit by moonlight. If a version of you can live forever on a server, is that truly you, or simply the story you left behind? David Hume once wrote in a treatise of human nature, "The mind is a kind of theater." So in digital heaven, who sits in the audience, you or an actor wearing your face? From digital heaven, we step into an even more uncanny realm: simulation therapy, a method allowing you to live years inside a fully immersive virtual world, to heal trauma, to resolve grief, to return to life renewed. You can relive your past and change it. You can meet those who are gone. You can live a life you never had, but upon awakening. Which memories are real, which are therapeutic constructs, and who is the you opening your eyes? Each technology becomes a mirror, not reflecting the future, but reflecting the essence of being human. What are we when emotions can be programmed? What are we when memories can be rewritten? What are we when consciousness can be shared? What are we when death is no longer the end? Carl Jung's words echo softly, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But if you can be reconstructed, edited, optimized, does the journey still hold meaning? And the wonder is this: the text does not conclude, it does not judge, it does not warn. It simply holds up a mirror that looks through machinery, through future landscapes, through dazzling visions and haunted possibilities to reveal that human is not a definition, but a question still writing itself. And in this quiet night, as your breath grows slower, as your mind drifts like warm water in a dim room, we turn gently toward the next part, a place where the deepest philosophical questions brush against the origins of identity and perception. Now let your body sink 1 degree deeper and come with me to the place where the self dissolves and the boundary between observer and universe begins to fade. We seem to be standing on a fragile threshold between two worlds. One world where technology can edit memories, merge minds, create digital heavens, and program morality. And another world quieter, deeper, where the very idea of the self becomes a question. Because after we have seen that the body can be modified, that memory can be rewritten, that emotion can be regulated, and even death can be delayed or reconstructed on a server, what is left to call me? The question is soft as a breath, yet enough to shake everything we thought we understood about ourselves. Let your mind slow down for a moment. A deeper breath, no effort, just listening. And now we step into the world where the self begins to dissolve like morning mist in early light. Imagine sitting alone in a quiet room. No technology, no devices, no one else. Only you and the pure presence of you. You watch your breath, you listen to your heartbeat, you notice thoughts passing through like drifting clouds. And then something strange happens. When you observe a thought, that thought is not you. When you observe a feeling, that feeling is not you. When you observe your body, that body is not you. So who or what is you? From here, the text unfolds a series of visions delicate as thin veils. Many philosophers and scientists realize that the self is not a fixed entity, but a story the brain tells to maintain a sense of continuity, as David Hume wrote in A Treatise of Human Nature. I never catch myself at any time without a perception. Hume could never find a separate self, only a flowing stream of sensations. If so, the self might be nothing more than a shadow created to comfort us amid the chaos of existence. In Advaita traditions or mindfulness practices, there is a gentle but radical idea. There is no boundary between me and the world. You look at a tree, you think you are looking at it. But the truth is the tree exists only in your experience, and you exist only in the presence of the tree. The observer and the observed melt into each other, the way moonlight melts into water. As you breathe out softly, the whole space seems to breathe with you. Some thinkers like Berkeley and Schopenhauer go even further. The physical world does not exist independently. It is an expression of consciousness. Schopenhauer wrote in The World, as will and representation, the world is my representation. This does not mean the world is fake or unreal. It means reality is the experience happening within the mind. When you touch a cup, you are touching the sensation of a cup. When you look at the sky, you are looking into your own perception. A more extreme form of idealism poses a lonely question. If I can only be certain of my own consciousness, how can I be sure that anyone else truly has one? You hear a voice. You feel the warmth of a hand. You believe the other has a mind like yours. But this belief comes from where you cannot experience their consciousness. You can only infer it. This is the trap of solipsism, frightening and strange like a dream you cannot wake from. David Chalmers offers a soft, subtle question. Not just what is consciousness, but why does consciousness feel mysterious? What in the brain makes us sense that there is a deep problem here? What makes us feel there is something it is like to experience anything? Maybe consciousness is not mysterious. Maybe the brain creates the illusion of mystery. Just as illusions make us trust the scenery, consciousness creates the illusion that it transcends matter. A grand illusion, vast and beautiful, so beautiful that it cannot understand itself. All these philosophical layers, the self, no, self-idealism, solipsism, the hard problem of consciousness merge like ripples expanding across a midnight lake. Layer by layer, they gently dissolve one of humanity's deepest intuitions that we are stable, separate, enduring beings. But perhaps we are simply a flow, a wave, a delicate story written by countless passing moments. Carl Jung once said something hauntingly soft: who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. And we realize looking inward is not to find a permanent self, but to discover that there is nothing fixed to find, only an open space where awareness illuminates itself. Let your thoughts drift slowly. Let your breath grow softer. Let yourself melt into this warm, quiet, deep sensation. Because from here we take the next step into a realm of ethics beyond culture and beyond humanity, where questions of right and wrong dissolve into the subtle vibrations of existence itself. For now, rest for a moment. And when you're ready, I will take you into the world of meta-morality. We have stepped out of the deepest chambers of consciousness, where the self dissolves into space, where the boundary between subject and object blurs like mist. And in that stillness, a new question, soft yet sharper than any blade, begins to appear. If the self is not real, upon whom is morality placed? And what does right and wrong even rest upon? From that question, we enter a new space, not daily morality, not social morality, not AI morality, but meta-morality. The morality that looks down on morality itself. The morality of morality. Take a light breath. Let your mind open like a midnight flower. And we begin. When the question is no longer what is right, but why does right exist at all? In everyday life, we argue about right and wrong as if they were obvious. But from a meta-moral view, deeper questions emerge. Does right exist independently like mathematics, or is it merely an evolutionary tool that helps humans cooperate? Or is morality just a neurological habit, something nature programmed into us, Nietzsche once wrote in Beyond Good and Evil? There are no moral phenomena, only a moral interpretation of phenomena. If good and evil are interpretations, does a moral truth actually exist? Or is it merely light reflected in the dark room of consciousness? Morality as biology, or morality as ultimate truth? One school of thought sees morality as a survival strategy passed down because it helped our ancestors live long enough to reproduce. By this view, compassion, fairness, sacrifice are not truths, but useful behaviors. But if morality is just evolution's tool, then why do humans do things completely against biological interest? Why does someone die for a stranger? Why does sacrifice feel transcendent? Something genes cannot explain. Kant once wrote in Groundwork of the Metaphysics of Morals, two things fill the mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe: the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. The ancients, when looking at the stars, felt morality as something that descended from beyond the mind, a kind of cosmic truth woven into every constellation. So where does morality come from? From outside us, from within us, or from something deeper than us? Morality as harmony, when good becomes a vibration of being, at the deepest level. Some traditions say morality does not come from rules, commands, or social norms, but from harmony, like music. An action is good not because it obeys a rule, but because it resonates with the rhythm of the universe, the rhythm of compassion, the rhythm of connection, the rhythm of awareness. By this view, morality is not something to learn, but something to remember, because deep inside each of us is already a moral melody just covered by fear, ego memory, and noise. Morality beyond humanity, the cosmic gaze of meta-morality. Imagine a civilization a billion years old. Their morality may not rest on happiness or suffering like ours. They may see morality as the expansion of consciousness, the deepening of understanding, the harmony of dimensions, ideas far beyond our imagination. And meta-morality asks, if cosmic morality exists, is human morality only the first chapter? Like children staring at high school mathematics in awe, we may be looking at cosmic ethics with baby eyes. When the self dissolves, a new morality begins. Once we see that the self is only a story meta, morality whispers, if the I is an illusion, then morality based on self-interest is the greatest misunderstanding. You do not help others, you help the part of yourself living in them. You do not forgive others, you release chains from your own heart. You do not love others, you love life itself. This is the depth of meta-morality, where goodness is no longer duty, but awakening. Meta-morality as the final dissolving. Reaching the end of this journey, we no longer see morality as something outside us, a rule book, a script, a formula. We see it as inner light, something that cannot be described by logic. As Dostoevsky wrote in The Brothers Karamazov, love in action is a harsh and dreadful thing compared to love in dreams. Meta-morality does not deny everyday morality. It simply expands it, moving morality from action to essence, from rules to presence. And in the stillness of the night, we understand something vast. Morality is not an answer. Morality is the state of the heart when it returns to what it truly is: connection, compassion, resonance with all existence. Let your thoughts drift lightly like leaves falling onto a lake. Because when your eyes close, when your breath softens, when the noise of the world fades, morality is no longer something to understand. It is something to become. And in that moment, meta-morality is not philosophy. It is peace. Let go now and allow your mind to slip into sleep as if the entire universe were holding you with infinite gentleness. As we step out of the deepest layers of meta-morality, where goodness is no longer a rule but a state of the soul, where morality arises not from commandments, but from a quiet inner harmony, we begin to feel a strange, gentle peace, as if the mind has just crossed an ancient gate and entered a wider, more open garden. The gate closes softly behind us, and we realize this journey has never been a collection of separate parts, but a vast symphony, a long harmonic breath made of ideas, questions, and shifting reflections. Here, in this quiet space, we look back on the entire path, not to find answers, but to see that it is the questions that illuminate who we are. The journey began in the simplest place, a moral choice: whom to save, how to act. And we learned that morality was never clear-cut, always shaped by context, emotion, social structure, memory, and the invisible layers within our psychology. Then we walked into memory, where pain and identity weave together like fragile threads. To erase suffering, would that be erasing the self, or simply opening a door to healing? We moved through justice and social design, where the shadows of ego collided with the light of reason. Through moral luck, where fate intrudes on judgment like an unseen hand. Through time, where a human life becomes a vast museum we only ever glimpse room by room. And entering the world of artificial intelligence, we asked, what is understanding? What is consciousness? How are we different from a machine? A quiet echo from Heidegger's Being and Time murmurs, the most thought-provoking thing in our thought-provoking time is that we are still not thinking. The path widened into the cosmos, into causality, uncertainty, the trembling foundations of knowledge, where reality shimmered like a mirage. Then came the ethics of watching the technologies that reshape being itself, the dissolution of the self in non-duality, idealism, solipsism. And suddenly we saw these weren't separate rooms. They were chambers of a single spiral leading us deeper into the question, who am I in this universe? Strangely, every section was a mirror. In morality, we saw the shadow of our frailty. In memory, the wounds without names. In justice, the quiet biases of the self. In time, the fragility of the finite. In AI, the nature of knowing. In perception, the dissolving of boundaries. In meta-morality, the delicate beauty of goodness beyond rules. Each mirror showed a different face of the mind. And when placed together, a new picture emerged, not of a fixed self, but of a flow of consciousness, a wave, a subtle movement seeking its way back to essence. Rilke once wrote in letters to a young poet, "Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final." And perhaps that is what this entire journey is whispering to us. There is no final answer, only movement. Only change, only continuation. We often think answers bring peace, but in the soft voice of philosophy tonight, we discover stillness comes from somewhere else, from accepting that there is no final answer and the mind no longer needs to struggle, from allowing ourselves to let go and letting questions become gentle breezes, slow breaths, space for the soul to widen. The further we walk, the clearer it becomes. Philosophy does not want us to answer. Philosophy wants us to awaken. Not awaken to find truth, but awaken to see that truth shifts with every gaze like water reflecting the sky. Not awaken to grasp the universe, but awaken to realize that we are woven into it, small, fragile, but beautiful in our own quiet way. Like the expanding circle of empathy, like the mind opening and returning, like the final lantern guiding us back to where we started, but with different eyes. Nietzsche once wrote in "Thus spoke Zarathustra," and all things are enchained together, entwined, enamored. This whole journey, morality, self-memory, technology, metaphysics, cosmos, is woven like threads in a single tapestry. Nothing stands alone. No question is separate. And when we look back, we realize the thing connecting them is not thought, it is you. The one listening, the one breathing softly in the dark, the one letting your mind drift with each word. The journey began with a question of choice and ends with a question of existence. But in truth, they were always the same question. Now, as you prepare to close your eyes, as the noise of the world slips away, as every question softens like night grass beneath bare feet, there is only one thing left to offer you. You do not need answers to be at peace. You only need a gentle presence with yourself. Because in the end, all philosophy, however deep, is just a small lantern lighting the way back to your own quiet heart. Take a slow breath, then a deeper one, and let the stream of thought drift away like a small boat gliding into the calm darkness of sleep. The journey has ended, but peace right now is just beginning.